good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Saturday, February 17th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, and I don't have any herpes that needs to be slapped off of my lips. Jeremy Pierce, welcome, one and all. You know you can check me out on the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter, Coffee, Patreon, all that good jazz. And today's show, well, it is the Ballad of Bayley. Bayley is finally getting a Wrestlemania match after not being on the card for a couple of years, and I thought it'd be fun to take a look back at her career and just see the ups and downs. She's one of my favorite, if not my favorite wrestler, favorite female wrestler in the WWE. But that's what we're gonna go and do today. But for now, you know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. Since our focus today is on Bayley, you know what this episode is probably going to be about. It is the 5 best matches of Bayley's career, and you're going to notice one constant throughout all of these matches. So we're starting with Survivor Series 2023 War Games. So this was Damage Control taking on Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi. There was inevitably going to be a War Games match when you have a female faction. It just works out that way. Unlike where we're in NXT, it was for the women, a lot of singles feuds coming together for the War Games match. But Asuka and Kairi Sane had just joined Damage Control, and they were a force to be reckoned with, but they were going up against Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi, and the 3 of the women on the other side, Becky, Bianca, and Charlotte, are multiple-time women's champions who had always been given kind of a really, really big push, so it only made sense to the WWE that Damage Control would lose this match. But it was a very good match. Once again, Io did her famous trash can spot of jumping off the cage with the trash can on her head. This match was built on short notice, but it was really, really good. It was fun, and I feel like they could definitely top themselves one more time. Number 4, Bayley versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship on Monday Night Raw. This was inevitably a good match because you have Charlotte, you have Bayley, but funny thing is these two haven't faced each other a lot. But this was the coronation of Bayley's, really first time on the main roster, winning the Raw Women's Championship. It was a really, really good match, hampered a little bit by the Dana Brooke and Sasha Banks shenanigans, but ultimately in the end, it did not disappoint, and Bayley won. Number 3, Bayley versus Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell 2020. What more is there to say about Bayley and Sasha Banks? These 2 women just get it. They know each other so well. I inevitably chose this match over their SmackDown match, which took place during the pandemic, but this was just a really, really good Hell in a Cell match. These 2 women went all out because they know each other so well. This was built off of years and years and years of feuding with each other, being partners, being enemies, being rivals, being friends. It was just good. They know how to make magic together. And with that being said, number 2 is NXT TakeOver Respect, Bayley versus Sasha Banks in a 30-minute Iron Man match for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, this is the second match of their storied rivalry in NXT, and this match was just good. It was just good. Everything about this match just worked. It made sense. These two would inevitably almost top themselves from their previous match, but it showed that once again the women know how to get down with the get down. And even though it suffered a little bit from the padding in the middle, this was still ultimately a great match. And of course, number one, Sasha Banks versus Bayley, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, where Bayley finally defeated Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship. What more is there to say about this match? I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this. This is the most important match in the WWE over the last 10 to 15 years. It's that important. This match did not main event, that was headlined by, I believe, Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor, but these two did everything beautiful, and it had the crowd on the palm. It just worked, from Sasha going at Izzy, from Bayley pulling out all the stops, hitting that reverse round of the top rope, followed by the Bayley to belly, and just, it was a crowning moment for the Four Horsewomen, and it showed you that women's wrestling finally had truly arrived in the WWE. The spotlight is on, it's shining bright, and it is on the man, Becky Lynch, or do you want to go by Big Time Bex? Yes, Becky is at a crossroads here. She's telling the story of, she knows she's great. She knows she's one of the best, but there has been one woman who she's rarely interacted with who has just been dominating over the last year, and that's Rhea Ripley. And now Becky needs to know that she's better than Rhea, that she can beat Rhea Ripley. This is a story she's told before when it was against Bianca Belair. It's a story that anybody can tell when you lose to an opponent. Every so often, you just don't beat them. You need to know you can beat them. Seth tried telling us recently with him versus Cody. The Rock did it with Stone Cold at WrestleMania. Right now, Becky is running into a buzzsaw that is Rhea Ripley. She has to get through this Elimination Chamber match that features a bunch of other really good women. Ultimately, still think Becky's going to win the match so we can get the Mania match. But right now, Becky needs this match. She needs to tell everybody, to show everybody that she can beat Rhea Ripley. But I think ultimately, she might be in for a rude awakening. We'll be right back. The hugger, the role model. Of course, we are talking about Bayley. Bayley is an unsung hero of the WWE. She is reliable. She is here time and again. She's just good. But there have been some ups and downs for her career. So let's talk about it. Let's take a look at Bayley, because today is about the Ballad of Bayley. Now, she is one of my favorite wrestlers. She is probably my favorite women's wrestler in the WWE right now. Her, followed by Rhea, Kyrie, Asuka, and Io. And Bayley's unique. So where do we start? We start with her NXT career. She started out actually as a luchador. Most people don't know this. She actually wore a mask, and then things changed, and she ended up becoming Bayley, the hugger, the role model. she had this gimmick. It was like the ultimate baby face, and it worked very, very well in NXT. There are a lot of things to get upset about today, and that's fine. One of the things you can always be upset about is Bayley never having the true face run that she deserved on the main roster. As we talk about her NXT career, it was special. She was one of the most modern, purest of pure baby faces. It just worked. And along with the 4 horsewomen and a few other women in NXT, everything just worked. So we're building up the 4 horsewomen, we're building up Charlotte, we're building up Becky, we're building up Sasha. And you have to get credit where credit is due. That even though Bayley has pretty much played second fiddle to the 3 other women, except for NXT, because her and Sasha Banks put on clinic after clinic, told story after story, and it just worked. So she's building up on this hugger gimmick where she's the baby face, and she's got the wacky, wavy, inflatable two-man and side ponytail. She's got, you know, the Macho Man colors, and it's clicking. But then there is her polar opposite, the boss, Sasha Banks. You know what it's hitting for. And there was something special about these 2 women when they came together. When you have opposites like Bayley, like Sasha, usually good things happen. So after Bayley finished feuding with Emma and had to go over Charlotte and deal with Dana Brooke, she was starting on the verge of her NXT championship run, right? And we get Bayley defeating Becky to become the #1 contender. At TakeOver Brooklyn, Bayley defeated Sasha Banks in a beautiful, beautiful match. And that was the culmination of, okay, women's wrestling has finally arrived in WWE. They then had a rematch at the main event of the next TakeOver. It was TakeOver Respect, and this was a 30-minute women's Iron Man match. And again, they made magic. And it just works. But while all of this was going on, Bayley defending the championship, fighting off Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie and Nia Jackson, Carmella, there was someone else who was running roughshod through the NXT Women's Division, and that was Asuka. Nobody was ready for Asuka. So when Bayley and Asuka finally fought, Asuka defeated her. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, the crazy thing is, I actually don't think Bayley and Asuka ever really feuded on the main roster. They've really been kept apart. So, Bayley's run in NXT was just perfect. It was the first time you saw that Bayley was truly a star. She then arrives on the main roster in 2016 and immediately goes after the Raw Women's Championship. And there was just something that didn't click. Her side ponytail fangirl gimmick never really translated well on the main roster, even though she won multiple singles championships and women's tag team titles and the Money to Bank briefcase. The hugger gimmick never really worked. Now, mind you, Bayley as the hugger was, in all honesty, the biggest star of the women's revolution, biggest star of the women's evolution, over Sasha, over Charlotte, over Bayley, over Asuka, over Alexa Bliss. Or not over Bayley, over Becky Lynch. The hugger gimmick worked NXT, and for some reason it did not work on the main roster. You can attribute that to maybe this notion and idea the WWE has that the fan base of the main roster doesn't really watch NXT, which is not really true anymore, because we see a lot of cross promotion between the brands now. But there are times where, a gimmick doesn't really translate to the main roster. So the ultimate babyface run of Bayley on the main roster the first time around didn't work. But then something changed. Something clicked. Main roster Bayley, the babyface, was more of a sidekick than a superhero. But then her heel turn came. She cut her hair, and she took a kendo stick to the wacky waving inflatable tube guys, and it gave her a new identity. She was now the role model. And I'm going to say it here and now. The pandemic helped Bayley's career. So after winning the tag team titles with Sasha Banks, losing at WrestleMania, there was a change. Superstar shakeup came, and then Bayley was moved over to SmackDown, disbanding her team with Sasha, who remained on Raw. Bayley got a couple W's here, a couple W's there, and then the heel turn. It was a breath of fresh air. It was beautiful. She still wasn't properly appreciated by those running the company, but we, the fans, saw the magic in her heel run. She turned heel by turning on Becky, helping Sasha. She destroyed her Bayley buddies, and Bayley would go on to win the SmackDown Women's Championship and having feud after feud after feud. And then when the pandemic came, Bayley and Sasha, along with Asuka, helped carry the company. You got more character work. And her little feuds and jips and jabs at Michael Cole just works. And her and Sasha were just a dominant women's tag team. Sasha and Bayley were amazing together. But we could see that the cracks were there. Bayley became the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. Her reign lasted 380 days, but Sasha was getting jealous. They had their amazing Hell in a Cell match, and finally Bayley lost. Bayley entered the Rumble. There was an awkward match, so on and so forth. And she tore her ACL. She was out for 9 months. And things kind of just moved on. Now, I missed Bayley. It's my girl. SummerSlam 2022 came. And then she returned and gave us Damage Control. And Yes, they lost a lot. They won the tag team titles, but it was ultimately used to elevate Io Sky because Io Sky needed to be elevated. Y'all don't know how good Io Sky really is. Then we get to now, today. You would think out of all of this, Bayley doesn't have anything at WrestleMania, right? But here's the thing. WrestleMania 33. What happened on WrestleMania 33? Bayley was the Raw Women's Champion. And guess what she did? She went into WrestleMania champion. She left WrestleMania champion. She defended the title in a fatal 4-way elimination match against Charlotte, Nia, and Sasha. Bayley won. Who remembers that? WrestleMania 34, she competed in, I believe it was the Women's Battle Royal. That's okay. You know, you gotta get everybody on the card. Bayley had wins at WrestleMania, but who really remembers that? And now we get to her winning the Royal Rumble. The cracks in the armor of Damage Control really started when Kyrie and Asuka joined Damage Control. And we knew what was coming. The writing was on the wall that they were going to slowly start pushing Bayley out of the group. And they were constantly making fun of Bayley. They were constantly not going with Bayley's plans. But that's okay, because we knew where things were going. And when Bayley caught Asuka, Io, and Kyrie talking about her decision was made. And then she started talking to them in Japanese and made her decision to face Io Sky at WrestleMania. See, here's the thing about Bayley. She's always been the unsung hero of the women's division. She's always been there when you needed her. I cannot tell you how many times she lost to Bianca Belair just to elevate Bianca Belair, much to the chagrin of many. I cannot tell you how many times she's gone through bad feuds. Remember Bayley, This Is Your Life with Alexa Bliss, a horrible, terrible feud. And she had to play second fiddle to women that she's just better than. Like, let's be honest. Alexa Bliss wishes she was as good as Bayley. So now we have Bayley getting another shot. And mind you, Bayley has always played second fiddle to the rest of the horsewomen. Always. She's always played second fiddle to all the horsewomen. The only true time where she's really gotten her her fair shake is when she's been with Sasha. But Sasha, now Mercedes Moné, is in another company. It's time to put some respect on Bayley's name. Not from people like me that knows how good Bayley is, but from everyone else. And I'll throw in Io there. I've talked about Io so much, and people are going to sleep on their match, but give them the time, and if you let them tell the story, Bayley and Io will put on a banger of a match. Will Bayley finally get her crowning moment? That even though she has multiple wins at WrestleMania, no one really remembers that. There's no Becky Lynch blocking her, and there's damn sure no Charlotte Flair blocking her. It's time for Bayley to get the face run that she's earned, that she deserves. Will she bring back the Bayley to belly, the diving elbow drop? Who knows? Never been the biggest fan of the rose plants. Not a great finisher. But Bayley can make most things work. I'm ready. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Next week, we got a list of returns I'm most excited for. We got another Flashback Friday. We're going to do the Elimination Chamber preview on Friday, seeing as how the show airs at 5 in the morning on Saturday. So we're going to try to get that preview out to you early. We got What Just Happened coming Sunday. Actually, we might even do What Just Happened that Saturday after the Chamber. Just knock it out. We got the recap every Sunday. We got wrestling Reddit content. We'll get some more shirts up. I'm gonna figure what to do about this website. I'm having a hard time. I'm struggling. But don't forget to check out the socials. Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube. Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram. And of course, the 215 on Twitter. And as always, Bayley, Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, Olive Dawn, Gigi Dolan, and Anna J. Holla at your boy. Peace.